Hi there, it's Jason Snedden, the Abundance Activator, and I'm here with the lovely Z. And we were on a Zoom call this week, and I've met Z in a few in our circles. We cross over many times, but we were on a particular Zoom call this week. It was kind of like a bit of an emergency Zoom call of bringing collaborative minds together around this virus, these unprecedented times that we're in, and we both, in conversation, it came up that we both channel light language, and we thought it would be quite fun to and hopefully useful for you guys that are listening to this to talk about light language, what it is, what our perception of what it is, and then if it's right, we might bring through some and maybe even have a conversation. And if it's right, we don't know, because we just have to get out of the way for it to come through. So I'm so delighted to have you join here with me, and also I'm honored to be sharing the journey with you, because you are such a beautiful being of light, and I always light up when we connect. And when I met you in person for the first time at my book launch, there was such a connection that we had, and it's just wonderful. So tell me about your experience with light language, how you voice it, talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to have this conversation with you as well, and have loved our online interactions and meeting in person, and the way that we keep weaving and crossing each other's paths. Light language for me, it's only in really like recent times that I've even said like I have the gift of light language, or I channel light language or whatever. I don't really even call it light language in most cases.
What do you call it?
I call it the language of my spirit.
Oh, beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
So, and part of that comes from, because I grew up in a really Christian house and family, and so this language that's channeled through me, I guess, was first introduced to me as like speaking in tongues, and that biblical sort of reference and Christian reference of having another language come through that's from spirit or source. And that first happened for me when I was 16 years old. And then I found that for myself over the years, I would just use it when I was in a personal space of like devotion or worship or contemplation, and sometimes around other people, but not necessarily like speaking it for somebody. And then several years ago kind of came across the terminology of light language, and I was like, okay, maybe this is what I do. And then as I moved kind of away from the very Christian paradigm, I just started saying it's the language of my spirit, and that just works for me. It suits me.
I love that.
And because I feel like ultimately each one of our individual spirits is connected to source and the great spirit. And so I just feel like it's my flavor of how spirit wants to speak through me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And how do you use it? How do you access it? How does it work for you?
For me, it's very intuitive and can be quite spontaneous. It often comes through in song as well. And I noticed even the other day, actually, I was walking along the beach in Surfers Paradise, and when I'm close to bodies of water, it seems to be like really bubbling up in me, and that's when it feels really activated within my body. I've had other experiences where if someone else is speaking light language, or if I'm in a deep like trance or meditation state, it will just like kind of come rushing out of me.
Wow. And do you have and the sounds that come through you, Are they different? Are they the same? Are they a variation of the same? How would you describe what comes through?
Yeah, I would describe it sort of like variations of the same language per se. And I have a sense like I've kind of had this feeling the whole time I've had this experience of speaking in channeled language, um, where if I have a specific intention,
Yeah.
um, the language changes slightly.
Yeah.
And there's been times, particularly like if I like in my Christian background and experience as well, if I was feeling like dark forces or evil was like strong and I wanted to combat that, the language would kind of shift into a different dynamic. And if my intention was to like really uphold light in face of darkness, that was one thing. Or if I want to express more like devotion and joy and love, it kind of goes into another vibration or tonal sounds. Yeah, so it can kind of change depending on if I have a strong intention behind how I'm bringing the language through. But if it's just kind of a spontaneous bubbling out of me, I guess that's kind of where I find like the middle road, and then there's like different streams of intention. Yeah.
Wow. And what when you first discovered someone else channeling light language, what was that experience like for you? And can you sort of explain how that was?
Yeah, I've had a few different kinds of experiences. I think like because in my upbringing, I would hear it in church, and I can remember being pretty young, probably about 9 years old, and there was somebody in our church who kind of stood up in the middle of the pastor speaking and just started speaking in this language, and then the pastor stopped and kind of explained what he sensed was going on, and then asked if there was anyone who felt like they had the gift of interpretation. And there was someone else who said, yeah, I feel like I do have this gift of interpretation, and what this person is saying in this language is for this, and kind of had this interpretive experience, which was quite interesting for me to experience as a child. And then different times hearing other people. I think one of the memories that's really standing out is actually hearing a mutual friend of ours, Michael Muir, and him channel, and it was quite a different like cadence and sound to what I channel. And I was like, wow, this is like kind of amazing, and it's very different, but it activated in me the language that comes through me. And then I've had some experiences where I just really didn't resonate with what the person was channeling. It was like, cool, that's what's going on for you. It doesn't feel like anything's resonating in my body or being to receive that or to engage with it. But yeah.
Well, Michael Muir was my first experience of receiving light language, and I'd go to his events, and he was channeling light language, a long time ago. And I used to just want to go, and I just loved receiving the sound and the energy that was that I felt through my being every time I'd go. And I was curious and open, because it's that's been my journey, is I've just been very open to what's here. I haven't had a religious background at all. I'd never heard of speaking in tongues until I started, well, if you call it speaking in tongues, doing it. I didn't know that it was a thing in the religious world, but so and that's what I think why I was so open to it. And I was like, well, I'm open to, if this is to come through me, that I'm completely open to it. But I had some massive healing experiences for it to be opened up in me. So, but I started channeling an ascended master before light language came through me. So, So I got activated to, so I had a healing session with I have a spiritual grandmother, this beautiful woman.
Amazing.
And she did this healing session on me, and she told me that Master Kutumi was with me, and to always work with Master Kutumi when I'm with my clients. And so So I did. I'd always I asked Master Kurumi, I call you in to be here in loving service of whoever I'm working with. And then I had this client who's very spiritual, very connected. She's a healer, she's an earth worker, she's very, very multidimensional and very spiritual. So she really created a space for me to be very multidimensional, and we'd call in all the other galactic beings of light and the ascended masters and the angels and guides. And so it was she really helped me open up to that space, because I was helping her ground her business, so really very tangible stuff, but she was helping me really start be a lot more connected to the multi-dimensional side of things. So that was sort of the starting point. And then one day I was having a session with her in the car in the middle of Surrey Hills, and I just felt it was like intuition, but it just felt like this information that wanted to come through, that was not, it was through me but not from me, if you know what I mean. Then that was my first experience of channeling out a different voice, a different being through me, which was very connected to source and very specific channeled information for her. And so that was my first experience of that. And then I had the opportunity to be, I was going on a retreat straight after that, basically, and that was where it all opened up, and I was able to actually start working with him very easily in service to the people that were on the retreat with me. So that gave me the first experiences of channeling. But channeling Master Katumi is actually more trick. It creates a deeper level of presence for me than it does than light language does, because when I'm channeling a voice, English, it's still got to come through my consciousness to decipher it, even though it might be a different language, a different frequency, because it sounds different, but I'm still coming through my consciousness.
Yes.
So I really have to be present with that. Whereas with the light language, I was running a retreat, and we had a beautiful healer there, Tammy, her name is, and she's just this beautiful being, and we had her there to be part of the retreat to offer healings for people, as and when it was required. And second day too came, and she hadn't done any, and I said to Tammy, "Oh, are you going to be doing any healings?" She said, "Well, I'm actually not getting that I'm to do any on anyone, but I'm getting that I'm to do one on you. And so when you're ready, we'll go into the treatment room." And I was like, "Oh, but I'm the facilitator." Then I tuned in on it, and I was like, "Oh, well, if we're going to do it, it's for that to happen in the middle of the room, for everyone in this room to witness whatever you're going to do." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to surrender and to allow this."
Wow.
And so what happened was I had this massive, it was like almost levitating off the table. I was crying. I was just having all this shift in energy, and it was just massive. And, they could see me, my whole body going crazy. And it was massive, and I had to go and have a rest after that. Luckily I had a co-facilitator there with it, so I could go and have a little rest. And then the funny thing was, the next day I had already booked an energy session with Rosemary, because this was my first retreat that I was involved in. And I thought, I'll go to Rose, I'll have a top up, I'll need to be rebalanced, blah, blah. And I had a similar experience with her. And she said, "Oh, I'm connecting you with the galactic beings of light. They've been here, and they want to be here, and they want to be with you." And so that I just and then I felt this incredible energy of love running through me. This whole beautiful feeling of love running through me. And then I left there, and then the next day in meditation, that was when I was like, "Oh my gosh, something wants to come." It was like, the channeling, but a very different frequency, and it was this very digital sound coming out of me really fast, really, really, really fast.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, I need to call Michael Muir, my buddy." So I rang him up and I said, "This is what's happening." And then I spoke to him, and it was really, really fast. Oh, he said, "Oh, yes, it's the actuaries that come." And it was, because I got the message that it was the actuarians coming through me. And he said, "Oh, there's the actuaries. it's okay. Your body just hasn't adjusted to this frequency yet, and they're coming through at you too fast. And so he spoke back to me in this digital language, and then all of a sudden I started calming.
Wow.
I started coming down, and it was incredible because it was just this energy running through me that was so potent. And then that was the start of it, and then from then different sounds, different frequencies have come through me, and it's basically it's very easy for me to access. But like you, the intention, the intention does shift the frequency. So and I'm using it with clients, who we always have an intention of what we're working on and what we're bringing through. And I'm always drawn to the energy centers with the sound. So I'm always drawn to the chakra system, and I get different sounds for the chakra system, the energy systems, because what's so important is that our energy centers are balanced out, and most people's energy centers get whacked out. And when our energy centers are whacked out, well, then that's the part of us that's whacked out. So the sound that comes through me helps balance out the energy centers. And when we bring our awareness to the energy center that we're working on, the client brings their awareness to the energy center that we're working on, and then I bring through the sound that opens up that chakra, that energy center, and balances it out appropriately. And then what happens for me is that as I'm going through, then I'll translate what's coming, a message that's coming through the sound. For them, whatever that is. And then there's so many different sounds and frequencies that come through me. Sometimes I sing too, which my Jason doesn't like, because he doesn't like singing. It's not his thing. Sometimes it's very indigenous. It feels very, very, very earthy. Sometimes it feels very galactic-y. And sometimes it's very loving and very feminine, very, embracing mother energy, and so it's different all the time. And but I notice that there's similar languaging that comes through quite often, similar sort of sounds, and even I know that there's a word that there's a sound that comes through which is definitely the word for heart. I don't even know what it is because it's hard. It's not in my consciousness. But when I hear it coming through me, that's the word for heart. There's heart there, and I'm starting to notice similar words, similar sounds that come through. So, and how I understand it is that it's an ancient languages that come through, ancient languages, ancient frequencies that our souls, our beingness know. We know it on a cellular level, on a spiritual etheric level. We know what it is, and it's very it's a frequency that's very healing. That's how I understand it to be. Does that
Yeah, I relate to that. And I've had an experience that just brought to mind when I did a sweat lodge experience. And we kind of went around the circle, and each person was sharing something from their heart or gratitude or something. And I didn't have words in English, and I just let this language come through me. And I mean, being Indigenous myself and First Nations, often feel that this language is related to that. And then obviously being in a sweat lodge, which is culturally from my ancestors. It was a really powerful experience. And I had other people coming up to me and saying how healing it was for them to hear. And that was kind of the first time that I'd had somebody say that about it, because I was like, I don't know how other people receive it. I don't know how it impacts other people. But for a couple of people in particular, they were really, really touched, and they said it just like opened up something in them that allowed them to like go deeper into the sweat after that point.
Wow.
And it was really powerful. But I also relate to that sense of like different energies associated with the tone. So infinite mother, and I feel a bit of that as well. I had someone tell me once when I was in Bangladesh, I don't speak Bangladeshi, but I was speaking in channeled language, and they were like, wow, that actually sounds really similar to Bangladeshi. And I was like, what? And I've had other kind of linguistic experiences like that, where I've been in a foreign country and other people have been speaking in a language that I didn't speak or understand. And then suddenly I would have like this supernatural understanding of what was being said.
Wow.
So yeah, just kind of crossing over into other spoken languages. That's, yeah, another
Interesting.
dimension of my experience.
Wow. Wow. Well, so how would you feel about us having a bit of a conversation and seeing and bringing through some sound and seeing what happens? But I think that the important thing is for us to have an intention, and because we
Yes.
want to come from for the highest and best, for the highest good of all, whoever's listening to this, whoever's receiving this this recording and this transmission, and and we don't know when whoever watches it is going to see it, but receive it. But the thing that, of course, at the moment we've got this coronavirus. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of lot of lower vibration energy happening, and I know that the way to combat that is to have our hearts open to love and to be connected by this beautiful frequency of love. For where there is love, there is no fear. How does that resonate with you if we were to set an intention around something like that for those that are here receiving this, and know that if you are here, you are meant to be receiving us, and if you've switched off at this point where you're not meant to?
Yeah, that feels good for me. I'm also feeling really like really connected to the child that's growing in my womb right now, and feeling like really strong sense of bringing through the intention of love, but from that like unconditional motherly love, and like the divine mother. Just really feeling that.
And interestingly, that you're coming from the divine mother, and I feel like I want to come from the divine father, the divine masculine here. So there's this balance, this beautiful balance, because that's what what's the problem why we're experiencing this virus is because there's such an imbalance. So we must balance things out where we can, right? And here there's sound here now. There's something coming through. So how does I think I'll start with some sound that wants to come. And it's very masculine. There's this very masculine mohalehe kia no kohahe. E halakayanaka alehe kia anoko hehe. E halakayanaka e halahe kia anoko hehe. There has been such an imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. And this is part of the rebalancing. What is happening at this time, there is a balancing out between the masculine and the feminine. And this is why we are actually coming here to have this conversation at this time, kohalehe ki anaha, because we are all one. We are all one. Mohalehe ki anaha he, he hakayanaka alehe ki anoko hehe. E halakai anoko hehe. Mahale ke anoko hehe.
Oh, feeling the arms of the Divine Mother reaching all the way around this planet right now. Aranashia koya 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 shira rasha shiki monatatai. Halana nadra shishi putru fiakaya konia dadrasa puya. Rebalancing. Oh, I'm feeling the earth is speaking out. This time where this virus is attacking humanity, the earth is regenerating. Oh, the divine rebalancing of the masculine and of the feminine, of earth consciousness, that we are the earth. What we do to ourselves, we do to the earth. La katrama drushi pitria kakai koi kirina matrafi shishi and watrafa kai. Oh, sending out love as the vibration, that every cell in our body is love. Love is not something we do, but we are the embodiment of love.
Ki harikiri aro more kiri kiri papa kiri. Ki harikiri ke papa kiri kiri papa kiri pa. Giri ke papa kiri ke papa kiri kiri pa. Gi harikiri ke papa kiri ke papa da. Gede ke bahadi ke hale ko papa kiri ke papa kiri pa. Ki haroko de papa kiri kiri pa. Gede ke bahari kiri kiri pa.
Hmm. Kai akue Shinawe away Ihanhu Shinawe nawe Ihanhu Sakai anhawe Sakai anhawe Sakai anhawe Sakai anhawe Shikai nawe Shikai nawe May all beings return to love. May all beings return to love. Oh.
And so it is. And so it shall be.
So it is. So it shall be.
beautiful. Oh.
So beautiful.
So it's been such an honor to have this conversation with you, lovely, and experience your beautiful sound. I just felt it through my whole body. I felt my whole heart opening up and the connection to all that is through that. And I just feel like there was just this lovely balance of the masculine and the feminine coming in, and the divine feminine leading the way. That's how I was receiving that, and the masculine giving the permission for the feminine to lead the way, to shift, to create that balance. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, may that be the transmission that's received.
And may you all who receive this feel that balance within you, and the love that is here for you, and how we're all connected by love no matter what. Go well. So much love.
Thank you. So much love.
See ya.